Hey guys, Matt here at Tell Happy TV, and in today's video I have 4 popular electric bikes. And in this video we're going to be using these 4 as an example to help you make a buying decision on what kind of electric bike would be best suited for you depending on your riding profile. Each of these electric bikes are good electric bikes. However, you may regret your purchase if you don't choose the one that is best suited for your riding style. So in today's video, I'm going to be telling you what you should be looking for and what you should avoid depending on your riding profile. If you haven't had a chance to browse my channel, I do have a full review on each of these 4 bikes. So if you want more details on any of these bikes, be sure to check the description box below this video and it'll link you over to the full review for more specs, range, performance, and all of that stuff. So starting with the Hemingway Cruiser up here front and center, personally this is my favorite e-bike of the bunch because it's the most fun. It's got these massive 4-inch wide tires that make it excellent for riding on the beach in the sand, something that none of these other bikes can do. It has the biggest motor of the bunch and also the biggest battery pack of the bunch. And that big battery pack paired up to the big motor makes this bike the most powerful of the bunch and the best hill climber. We're just gonna ride it up this hill, see how it does full throttle. Ooh, the steep hill. It can do it, it can do it, oh yeah. In my acceleration test, this bike performed the best by far. It's extremely large and powerful, which makes me feel like I'm driving a monster truck. The adjustable front suspension sitting on those massive tires makes for a really comfortable ride as well. However, this style e-bike is not going to be ideal for all types of riders. So let's consider the cons now. The first con of the Hemingway Cruiser is probably the weight. It weighs 72 pounds, which is more than any of these other bikes in the background. At my height of 6'5" and weight of 195 pounds, this bike works well for me. However, if you're a person of smaller stature, you're probably gonna have a really difficult time maneuvering this bike. Also, if you need to transport this bike frequently, or if you need to move it up and down stairs, you're probably gonna have a really difficult time doing that. Also, the Hemingway Cruiser is $1,700, which is the most expensive of any of these bikes here. So if you're really looking for the low end of the budget-friendly bikes, the Hemingway Cruiser is a bit expensive. The next con is probably top speed. This bike tops out at about 22 miles per hour. 22.6, 23. After all, it is the Hemingway Cruiser, so this bike is more suitable for somebody looking to cruise rather than achieve top speeds. And the final con to the Hemingway Cruiser is it doesn't have the greatest pedal assist modes. If you want to learn more about how the pedal assist modes on the Hemingway Cruiser works, please check the link below this video in the description box and watch my full review on this bike. Next up, we have the Ride 1 Up Core 5. It costs about $1,200, making it the best value of any of these electric bikes. Also, it's the lightest electric bike of the bunch here at 49 pounds. So the Core 5 makes a great electric bike for somebody who needs to transport their bike a lot. And it's also a good bike for somebody who needs to bring it up and down stairs a lot, or for somebody to maneuver that's smaller in stature. Another pro of this bike is the appearance. Of course, this is subjective, but I do get compliments on this color all the time. Another pro of the Core 5 is I find this bike to be the best of the bunch for actually getting some exercise. The tires up front are supple enough to make a comfortable ride, and paired up with a fork that does not have front suspension makes this bike ride more like a road bike than the rest of the bikes here. And out of the bunch, I would say the Core 5 does have the best pedal assist system. Another significant pro to the Core 5 is this bike does have a top speed of 28 miles per hour, which makes the Core 5 have the highest top speed of any of these bikes. So what are the cons of the Core 5? Well, of the bikes here, the Ride 1 Up does have the smallest battery pack. The updated version of the Core 5, which is available on the website now, has a 12.8 amp hour battery pack. So if you want a bike that has a really long range, the Core 5 does leave more to be desired. Also, the Core 5 does lack front suspension, and there are no fenders, nor does it come with a rear rack. This is my own rack I put on here. And the Core 5 does not come with a headlight or tail light. So if you're looking for an e-bike with all the bells and whistles, the Core 5 is definitely more of a base model. So if you are interested in the Core 5, be sure to check out my full review, link below this video in the description box. Next up, we have the KBO Breeze. This is a practical, budget-friendly commuter bike. Overall, I'd say say the KBO Breeze is the best commuter bike here. Looking at the appearance of the KBO Breeze, you'll notice it looks very similar to the Hemiway Cruiser. And it actually is pretty similar, but it just has more reasonably sized tires. Also, it has a pretty large battery pack at 16 amp hours, which is slightly smaller than the Hemiway Cruiser, but bigger than the Core 5. And it also has front suspension, which is another feature that makes it a really good commuter bike. One of the pros of the KBO Breeze is this bike comes with a 3 amp charger, which allows this bike to charge 50% faster than any of these other bikes. So the quick charge time really comes in handy for somebody who's looking to ride this bike more than once per day. And just like the Hemiway Cruiser, the KBO Breeze has a flashing brake light as well as a headlight up front, and fenders to prevent water or debris from kicking up on you on your commute. The relatively large battery pack on this bike also makes it another great option as a commuter bike. While it's not a particularly thrilling bike, this is the slowest accelerating bike of the bunch, and at 62 pounds it's not particularly light, so if you need to transport it or carry it up and down stairs, or if you're looking for an e-bike that's nimble, the weight is definitely something to take into consideration. Another downside of the KBO Breeze is this bike does not have a great cadence sensor similar to the Hemiway Cruiser. The cadence sensor is a bit aggressive. The KBO Breeze is a $1,500 bike, and if you want to learn more about this bike, be sure to watch my full review, link below in the description box. Next, we have the Highboy P7. This electric bike costs about $1,400, and even though this bike is listed as a commuter style bike, I'd have to say it's more of a hardtail mountain bike. So the Highboy P7 I'd say is best for somebody who's going to be doing mostly off-road riding. It comes with some knobby tires that definitely look like they're made for some off-road riding. And at 56 pounds, it is relatively nimble compared to some of these bigger bikes. One of the pros of the Highboy is this bike comes with 9 gears, which is another feature of this bike that makes it good for off-roading. And if you're looking for safety, one of the pros of this bike is it has a really loud horn. Another one of the pros of the P7 is this bike actually has a good cadence sensor and a good pedal assist system. This bike is really good at just kind of helping you a little bit and not kind of overtaking and giving you too much power. However, the Highboy P7 is not perfect, so let's talk about some of the cons. While I do like the cadence sensor is not overly intrusive and is pretty good for giving you a reasonable amount of power and pedal assist, one of the things I don't like about it is there is a lag to when it actually applies the power. In my full review of the Highboy P7, you can see what the actual lag is like. Another one of the cons of the Highboy P7 is there are quite a few non-brand components on this bike, including the battery cells, the tires, the rear cassette, and while these non-name brand components is not necessarily a bad thing, I'm just not personally familiar with some of the brands of the components on this bike. And another one of the cons is while this bike does have front suspension, it does not have the ability to adjust it other than to lock it out or unlock it. So choosing an e-bike really kind of comes down to what are the features and what are the pros and cons you need in an e-bike. Also, don't forget I do have a full review on each of these bikes, so browse my channel and check the description box below. I'll have a link to each of the full reviews. If this video has been helpful to you, please give me a thumbs up. And if you do have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. Click that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and I'll see you in my next video.